baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
It's Thursday. The
whole
last full week of no Major League Baseball, full slates. And we had like the Tokyo series and all that.
Yeah.
But
I've had Major League Baseball.
you've had it. We've had it. We've watched it. But I'm talking full slates of games.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, we will be in St. Louis for opening day.
Heyo.
Yep. We'll be doing a live stream. Do we know the name of the bar?
Called The Pitch.
Is
How
it
about
like
that?
walking distance from Busch?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's right next to the stadium.
Okay. So we'll be at the Pitch on opening day,
Ooh, is
live
that-
streaming.
I think that one's like down like the little alley, or maybe right on the corner, if it's the one I'm thinking about. Good scene.
Okay. I've
Good
never
scene.
been. It's my first time at St. Louis. First time. This is going to be a ballpark that I'm going to be checking off for the very first time. Very excited about it.
Cards fans get crushed for, the whole, good baseball fan thing. Are they really good baseball? I believe they're good baseball fans. I also believe and can tell you from experience, a great hang at the ballpark,
Oh.
a great hang around the ballpark as well.
Okay.
You guys are going to have fun.
This will be my 25th ballpark. 25th.
Nice. Chipping away.
So that means I have 7 left after this. I got the Trop. I got Rogers Center. I got
Trop's-
Comerica.
Trop's
I
gonna
got
be a while.
Target. I got, Trop's going to be a while. I got Great American. And I got Angel Stadium. And I got Oracle. I've been outside Oracle, but I don't count it. You got to go in. You got to do the game. You got to do all that.
Yeah, that doesn't count. You got to get in there.
You got to get in there. Got to get a feel for it.
I can't believe you haven't been to Oracle. You've been that close and you haven't been over there.
I mean, every time that I've been to Oakland, the Giants have been on the road.
Yeah. Well, that's how that works.
Yeah.
Not now.
Also, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, I'd like to check that one off because everyone always talks about how great it is. But yeah, I'll be checking off the new Busch Stadium as my 25th ballpark. Wow. Can you believe it?
Here we are.
Yeah. Also, speaking of news that you might not be able to believe, just as we hit record on this episode, Blue Jays president Mark Shapiro said this about Vladdy Jr. This is via Keegan Matheson. Who does Keegan write for? Let's give him a little shout out. Keegan, he works for MLB.com. Okay, shout out to Keegan. The quote is, "I think we're going to sign him. I think we're going to extend him. The reason I feel that way is because we have a clear alignment on the desired outcome." Do we believe this? That's a bold statement to make if you don't end up, like, you're going to look pretty dumb if you don't end up signing him at this juncture.
When I go back to read, just read that last part again, because this in my opinion is the most important part of his statement. Not the, we're gonna do the last part. Read the last part again.
The reason I feel that way is because we have such a clear alignment on the desired outcome.
So the desired outcome, you have to believe, starts with both entities being in Toronto, right? Vlad, I'm born here. My family's here. Like I'm Canadian for all intent and purposes. I kind of like this place. That's been documented. Toronto Blue Jays, big fan of stars. Whether or not they can land them all, I think that's been documented and how that's gone. So you have a dude in your own backyard right now who's like, I don't want to leave. And you're like, yeah, well, we don't want you to leave. Okay, well, what does the future look like? So are you aligned on making a lot of money? Are you aligned on going to the postseason? I'm sure you're aligned on all of those things, but do they line up? That's the question. Do they line up? It's one thing, wise woman once said, my mother, want in one hand and shit in the other, and see which one fills up faster. So you can want to be aligned all you want. You can feel that way, but ultimately, I think only Vlad really knows whether or not what the Jays camp has said and whether or not it's viable, whether or not it's something that he can believe in moving forward, because that's ultimately the decision. Is this a place that I can be for the future, and are they showing me that they are ready to start laying brick after brick after brick to build towards that future. Because if I'm the dude they're building around, then I'm going to need to see that foundation laid around me very quickly. Very quickly.
Jay?
I just think it's interesting that he came out and gave this comment today. I'm sure he didn't say it unsolicited. My guess would be that it was in response to a question, as these typically are. But, that is a pretty high level of confidence for a player whose self-imposed deadline has come and gone, and where there have been contract figures or approximations leaked from one side or another, maybe both sides, who knows? Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible, because at the end of the day, if they just meet a certain number, it probably just has to get
Happens.
done. It just gets done. Can always try and ask for a trade later if it doesn't work out or something like that. But that this has been placed back into the news for like a second time post deadline, I think is kind of interesting.
Well, and I think it could be problematic. I would hate for it to be, because if the Blue Jays stumble out of the gate and they struggle, right? And then everything that you would want Vlad to be excited about is kind of like on the back burner. Like we aren't picking up speed. We aren't turning a corner of any sorts. And you are right in the middle of this. You're a part of it. So then what does the selling point for the Jays become? If Vlad is having a good go at it, but the Jays stumble as a whole, what does that look like? Now you have Vlad going, there was a reason why I put this on hold. And it's because I don't know how confident I was in our group right now moving forward. And you've told me a lot about what the future could look like, but we're not making any of those moves either. So it's tough to think that they could be at a point where this could be done. They've already reached that point, and they're now beyond that point of being able to get it done. I honestly don't know, outside of, like Jay said, a price tag that just cannot be refused. I don't know what else has Vlad going, all right, shit, you know what? That pitch right there, that got me. You put that picture together for me. I wasn't looking at it like that. That gets it done. Let's go. Like, that conversation doesn't happen June unless there's another zero and another comma.
I also just have to think that, like, yes, it's best for the Blue Jays if they get Vlad under contract and bring back the biggest star that this team has had in quite some time, certainly a build-around star. But I do feel like it's worth acknowledging that there comes a price tag where I think it's a Pyrrhic victory for the Blue Jays if they get him under contract. Like, if we're talking $600 million to sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr., that to me is that's bordering on winning the press conference and not winning like the actual ability to build a functional team moving forward. Because as much as we all love Vlad Jr. right now and for the next half decade, a 15-year deal at $600 million, I think actually could end up being seriously problematic for the Blue Jays, or maybe almost any team, a few exceptions, that would sign him to that. And I know this is just speculation at this point, but he is, not to rehash previous conversations, but he is a flawed enough player where, yes, you want him under contract, but I do think the Blue Jays are not totally unreasonable for having maybe some sort of upper bounds on what they're willing to do here.
They are also, I can say this confidently. I think the Blue Jays are in one of the tougher spots that you've seen a franchise find themselves in, whether it be under their own doing.
I was going to say a little bit self-imposed, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Or a lot
Jay.
self-imposed. Yeah.
A lot self-imposed, my dude. Absolutely. And now they have an option, like you said. We have to keep Vlad in house, because if we do not, that is the last straw. That is the last piece to this puzzle. You can throw you can throw Bo in there, but it's Vlad. It's Vlad. If Vlad leaves, then now this organization is sitting there going, all right, the entire free world knows how many times and how often we've missed on bringing in the big name star. Now the entire free world just watched us allow the star in-house, the one who, if we had a shot or the best shot out of everybody else signing a player, this was it. This was the Blue Jays shot. And if they can't nail that down, that's a hell of a row to hoe moving forward. That is a hell of a sales pitch you're going to have to do to the next crop of free agents that says, we're all about winning here. We want to turn this thing around, and we're ready to make that commitment. Who do you say it to? Because if it was me, if I was a dude garnering that attention, I would go, the track record kind of says, man, that maybe you've come to the dance, but it feels like you've been more interested propping that wall up than getting out and shaking your ass, because there's been opportunities to dance and you just haven't gotten to the floor. You haven't finished the song. We haven't seen you dance.
I just feel like it's bold to throw those comments out there publicly and then without knowing like you have this in the bag.
Well, right now, at this point in time, like when Vlad's been like, look, dude, the conversation had to have happened. It's not, we're moving on. I'm on to 162 right now. And you've got the president going, oh, hold on. Actually, we feel really good about this. It's like, okay, well, how good do we feel? Like, I'm going to need something in the next 72 hours.
Like, do you think Vladdy is like panicking where it's like, oh shit, they're actually going to call my bluff here? Like, I gave them an outrageous number knowing that they're not going to meet it so I could get to free agency and still look like I wanted to stay here and salvage my relationship with this fan base, but they're actually going to fucking go crazy enough and give me 600 million.
And if that happens, then look, Vlad's going to be the happiest Canadian on the planet. There's no question.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see if it happens. I think it's going to have to be a crazy number like that to get something done, because at this point, it seems like he's pretty focused on the season coming up and also free agency.
I mean, what this could very well lend itself to is a very unfair and maybe just on the surface, a comparable conversation. But when we're talking about that kind of money for one player, you automatically, or I at least do, have to think about how the organization is going to recoup that money if you don't have the 3 World Series appearances and at least walking away with 1 or 2 during that 15-year period. And we're going to have a conversation about the ability to generate money outside of the field a little later in this podcast. But is Vlad generating that kind of economic impact where the Blue Jays could go out that far on that limb and still feel like they're going to have an opportunity to break even?
I don't think so. But I think it's more just a statement that they're making to their fans. Like, we're serious and this is our guy and we're going to show him that he's our guy.
Well, I hope they find a balance between pleasing the fans, pleasing Vlad, and doing what's right for the betterment of the organization to try to sustain a competitive balance.
Yeah. We got Dave Roberts on the show today.
Doc.
Yep. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed to see that people were disappointed in the Mookie interview. I was disappointed in that. I thought it was a good interview. But some of the reaction was that fans were disappointed that it was only 5 minutes. And I'm like, do you think that he gave us 30? And when we got to 5, I was like, all right, cut it. Like, he gave us 5 minutes. We were going to take the 5. And would you rather have 5 minutes of Mookie or 0 minutes of Mookie? Because those were our options.
And let's make one thing abundantly clear. Like, sure, we're set up there to do some longer interviews if that's available to us, and if we have stuff like that worked out. But in the interim, when an MVP walks by and is like, "Oh, hey, I think I know you. Yeah, let's chop it up." And then at the end of the conversation, there's an exchange of like gratitude and appreciation. That happened in 5 minutes. That wasn't something that was like planned out over a 3-week period. We got there and Mookie was like, this is what I got for it. We were there to talk to Glasnow, maybe Doc, and maybe Snell, if that was something that was going to pan out. And instead you got Mookie and you got some good stuff. So, I mean, that wasn't planned.
No, that just that happened.
Very organic. Ugh.
Yeah. But anyways, opening day is finally here and baseball is back. Underdog is celebrating by putting up a pot of $500K for the longest home run. To make your selection, just look for the split the pot promo in your lobby. Apply it to the player you think hits the deepest stinger on opening day. You can choose from any of their stats, not just home runs. If your pick hits the longest home run on opening day, you and whoever else took them will split the $500K, even if your pick doesn't hit. Who would you pick, Dallas, for longest home run on opening day?
O'Neal Cruz.
Okay.
I just for some reason I got him getting into an absolute fucking nuke.
Jay?
I think I would go Jorge Soler.
Ooh.
Solar power.
Give me Yordan Alvarez. Make sure you sign up with the promo code Jared. That's Jared to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits and a special pick on Underdog. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared. Without further ado, here's our little sit down with Dave Roberts, manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
All right, we're here with Dodgers skipper Dave Roberts. First question, what does it feel like to be a part of the Beatles? What does it feel like?
You know what? It feels great to be the Beatles road manager with Lennon and all those guys. So it's great. You know, it's funny is like there's not many people that can move the needle, but certainly Shohei Ohtani moved the needle. And then now when you layer in Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, obviously Clayton Kershaw coming back, it is like a rock star of a band. And everywhere we go, and today right now is a Saturday, and the energy's up. We got Dodger fans all over the place, and we're going to be going to Tokyo in March, and it's going to be like the Beatles going to Japan.
It is. Have you ever seen anything like this? You've been around the game a long time. Have you, like, what could you even possibly compare this to?
I think the only thing that, I'm 52 years old, I think the only thing I can compare it to is Michael Jordan with the Dream Team. You know, I think that was 84, 88. I think that was like kind of Beatle-ish. And I think Tiger Woods, obviously on the PGA Tour. But in baseball, I haven't seen anything near this.
So I walked into the Dodger clubhouse for the first time, and I've got some buddies in there I was excited to see. But then I'm looking around the room and I see the nameplates and I'm reading the nameplates. I audibly laughed. Do you ever do that, filling out your lineup card?
I do.
We got fucking MVP right here. We got Cy Young on the bump.
Oh yeah, two-time MVP. There's a lot of hardware in that locker.
A lot.
It's you know what? But the thing is though, Jared, is like these people. Shohei and we got signed obviously Roki this past offseason where guys just want to be here. And Teoscar is a superstar, won the home run derby, and he's like, I'm just an afterthought with the Dodgers. But yeah, you look at these nameplates, it's absolutely bananas.
So when you're managing a team like this, coming off a World Series title, and it's not just team success like you mentioned, there's a lot of hardware in there, so there's a lot of individual success. People look at the Dodgers and say, this is a super team, they're the best team in baseball by a huge margin. But your job is difficult in the sense that how do you battle complacency? Because you've got team success and individual success out the ass in that room.
I think the thing is that's the biggest part of my job where I think that, you know, in baseball as a manager, the things that are most scrutinized are the in-game decisions. But to be quite honest, that's the easiest part of my job. The hardest and most satisfying part of my job is keeping everybody on board, making sure that they play the game the right way, they prepare the right way, they mind the little things, they love to practice, they practice the right way to raise the floor for everyone around them, and to do that consistently. And so I think that that's something that I enjoy, and one kind of thing I love to say is, everyone likes to be told they're pretty. And so I don't hold a lot of team meetings, but I still have those one-on-one meetings, and everyone wants to be seen.
Sure.
And I think that's kind of something I really take pride in.
You yourself are a leader as the manager, as a former player, but when you go down that roster, you're like, this guy's a leader. He came from somewhere. He was the leader there. Now he's in our clubhouse. The Dodgers do a great job with behind-the-scenes content. You see Mookie addressing the room. You see Freddie Freeman addressing the room. Is there, not that there needs to be a balance, but how do you balance having so many alphas in the same room and so many guys that came from a place where they were the guy and now you're sharing a room with other guys that they were the guy?
I think it starts certainly with the right superstars, and everyone in a world where there's a lot of self-promotion, everyone's got to, as people say, get theirs. I think that when you have Clayton Kershaw, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. These are the most unselfish superstars you'll ever meet. And the great thing about them is that they really don't even see themselves as superstars, and they're just the most kind people and just love what they do, play baseball. They're baseball players, and a lot of, I think, that we do a really good job of is having our players have skin in the game. And you reference kind of guys in the clubhouse in my morning meetings getting up and saying things, because I can say things, Andrew Friedman, our team president, can say things, but there's nothing more powerful than a peer kind of saying things and getting buy-in from their teammates. And I think that we do a great job of holding each other to a high standard. And I think that's something for me is, we won the World Series last year, but if you look out in, my tenure, Andrew's tenure with the Dodgers, we've won more baseball games than anyone. And winning that last game of the season in the World Series is hard to do in baseball, but I think we do it as good as anybody in the sport.
Do you ever get tired of being asked questions about Shohei Ohtani?
I don't. It's funny is, people always go, "Hey, Doc, you get tired of being asked about the steal." I'm a part of history in Boston and in New England. Right. So for me, I don't. And so with Shohei Ohtani, in the sense of I get to manage potentially the greatest player that ever played this game. So absolutely not. I'd rather be that than how is it facing Shohei Ohtani. So I'm in a good position.
It's kind of champagne problems, but when you're talking to your guys in the offseason, you guys are keeping communication. Let's face it, you guys are going to be having deep playoff runs every single year. Talking to some guys in there, it's like, it felt like I had a 2-week off season. How do you manage that? It is champagne problems because you're either in the World Series or you're winning it. But it does feel like a quick turnaround for some of these guys. And a lot of these guys in that clubhouse, they're under contract for a long time. So it's going to be an annual thing that they're facing.
Well, what's crazy is, and even last year we went to South Korea and we went to Seoul, and then we play the last game in October. And so it's a shortened off season, and we had to start a little bit earlier because we're going to go to Tokyo. But guys showed up a week to 2 weeks early. So that just speaks to how much these guys love baseball, love playing, love the grind. And, our hope again is that we play that last game in October and we have another short winter. But our guys, I think the secret sauce is we got superstar players, talent, but they just love to practice. And for me, a guy like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tiger Woods, these guys, Tiger loves winning majors. Michael loves winning championships. Kobe, same. But these guys love to practice, and we've got a room full of guys that just love to practice.
You mentioned 04. That was one of the most, if not the most special World Series title for anyone that's still living and breathing on this planet.
There's no bias, though, from you.
There's no bias whatsoever. I mean, I'm just, right down the middle on that one. But how does winning a World Series as a player compare to winning a World Series as a manager? Like, it's got to feel like the kid thing where it's like, I've got multiple kids, I can't pick a favorite, but it's just you feel differently about both.
You know what? It's not actually, which is interesting. It's stark. I think, and I have been asked this question. I've had a chance to think about this. As a player, your lens is much more narrow, as it should be, because you're focused on yourself, your own performance, and your teammates. And that's the way it should be. So winning that championship in Boston after 86 years, it was pure elation, joy for all of us. But as a manager, your lens is certainly much more broad. And I think that I can now say, as winning as a player, winning a World Series, 2 World Series as a manager, you really appreciate all the people that are impacted. And I think for me, whether it be from ticket sales, corporate sponsors, clubhouse, baseball ops, scouts, and I think I'm really in tune with that. So I think that I got to appreciate winning in 20 and 24. So making a short answer long, I think it's just as a manager, I got more. I appreciated it more. And also the parade that we had in Los Angeles was out of this world.
Yes. Last one for me. Mookie Betts, when he was up, I forget, it was like some Players Award show, and he went up on stage and he was like, listen, if you guys want to win a World Series, you're going to have to come here because we're going to be winning them for a long time. What does that make you feel as a manager where your players are buying into, we know we're good as individuals, but we know that we're good as a team, and it's going to be this way for a long time. So if you want it, you have to come and take it from us.
that's the way it should be, because I think that it kind of takes that whole hunted and flips it to being a hunter. And I think that mentality is paramount in the sense of when you put this Dodgers uniform on, you're a target. Everyone wants a piece of us. They always bring their best against us. That's part of the gig. But I do feel that guys like Mookie, Shohei, Freddie, all these guys, and we bring in Blake Snell, we bring in Tanner Scott. These guys are hungry. Those guys are hungry for some hardware, a ring, and then now you get Mookie throwing it out there in the universe and, hey, if you want what we got, come take it, and I love it.
Love that too. Dave Roberts, thank you so much for taking the time. It's good to see you again.
Appreciate you.
You look great.
Thank you.
All right, big thanks to Dave Roberts for making the time. We really appreciate it. Always love talking to him.
He's
What
great.
a bundle
Energy-
of fun energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just going to say, like, it doesn't matter where you find him at. It doesn't matter, like, in the office, on the field, spring training, just bounding about. Like, the dude is, look, energy's on 10.
Wouldn't you be happy if you were Dave Roberts?
Yeah.
I
it's a
would
good
have
life.
zero. I mean, my biggest problem is whether or not the biggest international superstar in Ohtani is like fucking with my car out in the parking lot. Like, that's
Yeah.
my biggest concern. Yeah. Good life.
I bet that was a super stressful spot right up until they won the World Series last year. And now it is probably the chillest, coolest, best spot to be in. Maybe maybe among, I didn't
Name another
anticipate
one.
asking this question, but like, is there a coaching situation in North American professional
No.
sports that's
No.
a better spot than Dave Roberts in 2025?
No, because you don't have the players meddling to the extent that you do in the NBA, right? You don't have the potential shifting of leadership and blah, blah, blah going on that you have in the NFL, like play callers and you know what I mean? Like that stuff can change the landscape. Like, for better or worse, it's Doc and the folks above him that are writing the lineup out. And you have quite literally an embarrassment of riches when it comes to baseball talent that has garnered attention across many ponds. There's not a better place to be if you're at the tip of anybody's professional sporting spear. This is it.
It just had to be such an incredible release when they won, because obviously I know they won in 20, but I feel like with the way they've restacked the roster, that there was an increasing amount of pressure. And you know, with the back-to-back DS losses and stuff like that, like, we can't glance over the amount of pressure that the Dodgers and Dave Roberts were under last season to pull off that title, and how tense everybody's buttholes probably were when they were down 2-1 to the Padres. And like, that just had to be such an incredible release, and to go from one extreme to the other in terms of like how you're feeling. I just remember him walking out of like their tunnel or their walkway area prior to Jared doing the interview, and he looks out and he goes, "Jared!" And it's just like, oh, all right, this guy is just fucking cloud nine all the time.
Think about how, like, from the last out of October to even today, right now, think about how the news cycle for Dave Roberts has gone, right? Whether he's known up to the moment when the moves were going to happen, he's obviously privy to the level of interest in each one of these players, and he's made aware when it happens. But if you were Dave Roberts, and let's just say for entertainment's sake, you didn't have the inside track on all this stuff, and you're just Dave Roberts chilling on the lawn chair, chilling on the chair out by the beach, and you get the alert. Ohtani. What? Teos. Ring. Try. Ring. Sasak. This shit's not stopping. This is unbelievable. This is incredible. Like, it just hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped for Dave Roberts.
No, and it's not even that. Like, if you're going to go down the list of like coaches, managers who have the best situation going, you narrow it down by saying, okay, who are the guys that are coming off a championship? Okay. Now let's narrow it down even further. Who are the guys who are coming off a championship that just got an extension from their organization showing their faith in said manager or coach? That is basically a list of one. Like, it's Dave Roberts. So take out all the fact that, like, you know, you have the best roster in your sport, bar none. It's actually not even close. Like, the roster that you're managing on a day-to-day basis is the best in the sport that you manage. But coming off a championship, so the fans are happy, and coming off signing an extension, so your bosses are happy. It's good to be Dave Roberts, is all I've got to say.
Great to be the Doc.
Yeah. Speaking of the Dodgers, though, I know that there's some people like, you're glazing. You're just glazing the Dodgers. No, this is more of a sport thing. 25 million people watched the Tokyo series in Japan, bigger than any American baseball audience since Game 7 of the 2017 World Series via awful announcing. 25 million people tuned in.
I mean, you're tapping into the global market. And I know people are like, oh, well, it's their biggest sport. It's Japan's biggest sport. Like, how is this good for growing the game? That right there, that's how it's good for growing the game. That's exactly
Game 1. This is from MLB PR. Game 1 of the 2025 Tokyo series averaged more than 25 million viewers across all platforms, making it the most watched MLB game ever in Japan. Isn't that crazy that game would be more watched than like Shohei winning his first World Series?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Why?
Because you have multiple countrymen. You have the storylines of Ohtani, Yamamoto, and Sasaki joining up in a place that is so rich in history for Japanese players. That
isn't Shohei getting a ring more important than that, though?
No, not when you're talking about. Not when you're talking about cultural implications, because that's one dude who has reached the mountaintop, and that's great. That's fantastic.
But he's the dude.
No doubt. But now you have a team. You have got a fucking triple threat, a trio of dudes. Like, if any one of these guys were to be on anybody else's team, like Yamamoto's their dude, right? Sasaki, if any other team lands a Sasaki, he is instantly their dude. And now you have 3 of those dudes on one team, and they're playing against a team with a couple other dudes from the same area. So like that's the idea of getting an entire nation. It's one thing to have one dude that is creating this wave, creating this momentum, but that's just simply not the case. Nobody's arguing that Ohtani is the lead horse in that stable. Nobody. I mean, you saw it even, when people were trying to take a picture, they had a picture of all the Japanese players, and they were trying to move Seiya Suzuki and Ohtani so Ohtani could be in the middle. And Ohtani was like, no, dude, he's staying right there.
Yeah.
And we're all good. And that's just to have as many Japanese born players, not only on one team, but on the best team in the sport right now. Like that's why you have the attention, and that's why you have the excitement. But Ohtani being a baseball god clearly doesn't hurt.
Yeah. I also think it's as much as it is, the debate about a guy winning a World Series or seeing, 5 high-end countrymen perform in the same game. Let's also remember that this was an event put on at more for the convenience, quote unquote, of the people in Japan. This game was in Japan, not in the United States. And this game was played in prime time, basically in Japan, whereas it was 6:10 a.m. Eastern time, in the United States, so that more people tuned in for a game when they were all done working for the day is not necessarily surprising than a World Series game that is not tailored to their viewing experience necessarily. So,
and I mean, just again, like, let's take some time to applaud and congratulate Major League Baseball on being able to put together an event like this and having, in my opinion, the foresight, because when you start to see something like this unfold, and you start to read the projections, and you start to see the landing spots of these stars, and you're making a schedule, and you're thinking about how we can grow this game, that's absolutely a conversation you're having in Major League Baseball offices. Like, hey, in the next few years, it looks like this could be lining up. And is there any interest in us being able to put together these 2 clubs so that we can actually extend our market to a place that has been extremely beneficial for us, not only from just a player generating perspective, right? Having players come over from the Nippon League and establishing that relationship and continuing to enrich that relationship. But now this is an opportunity. It was an opportunity for Major League Baseball to say, hey, we have fans outside of the 50 US states here. And we have 2 teams that are comprised of some of the best Japanese players going. Like, period. Why don't we put these two teams together and take them overseas? And let's see what we can do. That right there is what just happened. And it's not just because of one guy. It's because of all of them.
I think it's got a lot to do with Shohei.
Well, nobody's denying that, but you can't just ignore Seiya Suzuki,
No one's
the
ignoring
monster of the Iwa era, and Yamamoto. Like, you can't just be like, oh, and those guys were there too. No, they're a huge, huge part of it. Sasaki's first big league punch out, Seiya Suzuki. How sweet is that? You punch out your fellow countryman for your first big league punch out in Japan. That's a moment for everybody that was there at that ballpark. For everybody. And that moment doesn't happen if this is just the Ohtani show.
They were talking about the numbers from the last Tokyo series, which was in 2019? 5.6 million viewers it did. Now we're up over 25 million. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So hold on. You said 5 million for when? 2018 when?
2019, the Tokyo series, game 1, did 5.6 million.
And which teams were there?
I don't know. Can't remember. 2019 Tokyo series, MLB.
Wasn't that the Rays?
The A's and Mariners. How the fuck do
A's-
you not remember?
18 or 19? I honestly, you want to know? I just had this conversation the other day in my brain. The last time we went to
Wasn't
Japan,
that Ichiro's farewell?
yes, with Kikuchi when Kikuchi
Were you
was
not
crying.
there?
Ichiro
No.
Suzuki, Dallas.
no, I was not there. And what I was just going to say is I have it in my brain the last time that we went to Japan being 2012, because that's the last time I was on the team. And so when we went in 19, nobody went. Radio, like nobody. So no, nobody went. But if you were to run down the roster of those two teams, Jared,
Yeah.
you're probably hard pressed to find a guy who's generating the kind of attention that even an Ohtani generates. But if it's one dude there at a 5 million viewership clip, and we add 4 more countrymen to that, 5 times 5, quick napkin math is telling me 25 mil. So I got to believe those other guys impact.
Yeah.
the
I'm not
viewership.
saying they don't. I'm just saying that if it were Shohei, that it would, they were
It'd
talking
be much larger
20
than 5
million.
million.
Yeah. Like we're still blowing the doors off the 2019 numbers. Anyways. Wash. Ron Washington with the
Love it.
Angels.
Love it.
He's
Love
like,
it.
you know what? You're not using your cell phones at your lockers anymore. Talk to each other. It's almost like being a teacher in elementary school. Get off your fucking phones and socialize. Learn how to communicate with each other.
And it's I'll tell you this.
Trout
not
has
necess-
already vouched for it. He's like, it's
Oh,
already working.
Trout and Neto both. And that's so you might just say, okay, what does that matter? Well, you have the dude in the clubhouse, right? Mike Trout. And then you have a young guy who is clearly a huge part of this club and the energy and the heartbeat of the club. And they have both understood the value almost instantaneously. And it's not like they didn't know the value. You just have to be reminded of stuff like this. Oh, that's right. Like if I can't just bury my head in my phone, then my head's up and I'm looking around. Now that might mean eye contact with my teammate, which very well could lead to a conversation. And that might even lead to me getting better because I'm talking about baseball instead of showing this guy some random ass TikTok that I just saw that has nothing to do with why we're here at the field. And it's okay for an organization to want to prioritize baseball atmosphere. It's okay. It's street legal. So much so that the Angels, in fact, Jared, have throughout their minor league system said, you know what? You'll love this, Jay. Data Schmeda. Get your iPad the fuck out of my bullpen. Get it out of here. All of that technology, gone. Gone throughout the minor
That's
league system.
That's the
They
Angels,
don't
you
use
said?
the Angels.
Yeah.
They don't use
That sounds about right.
well, I need to be abundantly clear when I say this. It's not that they're not gathering the data. That is absolutely still happening to the same extent it was last year. The idea is in the bullpen, they don't have their pitchers throwing a pitch and then turning around and checking the data, checking the iPad, checking, hey, what was the vert there? Hey, what do you got on the H? They don't have any of that. And I love that for this reason, for the same reason that when I go to minor league camp, I walk down and I hand out baseballs to all of the minor league guys who are just sitting there watching the games because you got to be there at home for 5+ innings, whatever. So I put a baseball in their hand and they look at me like I'm fucking crazy. But I know what's about to happen because as soon as I walk away, you want to know what happens? They're flipping the ball. The guy next to him snatches the ball, right? You're talking, you're laughing. Hey, what do you got? Let me see your changeup. What do you got on the slider? Oh, well, now we're having baseball conversations. Now we're back to feeling the very tool that we're going to go out there and try to provide a life for our family with instead of watching TikTok. I know it's a crazy thought. I know it's a crazy idea, but damn it just might work getting back to baseball. It just might work. So for the Angels, who I will always remind you, quite literally said, pitchers, all of them this draft, fuck it. They're trying to find ways to shift the culture. They're trying to find ways to make things better.
Yeah, my first reaction was to make fun of the Angels because, I think we're all just kind of conditioned to do that on a lot of levels at this point. But yeah, I don't necessarily think it's going to do anything in terms of tangible results like that people on the outside will be able to recognize. But I think there's something to what Dallas is talking about for sure. This team hasn't been good. So I don't think the players, and it said it's being enforced by Trout and Hendricks, Kyle Hendricks on the two sides. So like the people below those two in terms of baseball equity, largely on this roster, don't have a leg to stand on in terms of bitching about this sort of thing. And like, this is going to make me sound old, whatever, but like, I'm not pretending like I've given this a lot of thought or have all the answers because I know it's complicated, but like, this reminds me of like the cell phones in schools thing where kids are like sitting at their desks with cell phones all day while class is being taught. And like, I don't fucking understand how that is supposed to work. And this is the adult version of that, kind of in a lot of ways, the workplace version where like these guys fundamentally, there are a lot of jobs, a lot of listeners here who need their cell phones to do their jobs, right? It is part and parcel of what they're doing. But this is not the case for Major League Baseball players, certainly when they're in this window of time before and after games and during games. And like, I think there is something to the idea that I feel better as a person when I explicitly put my phone away for an extended period of time outside of work hours when it's appropriate to do so. And I'm just like, I'm going to focus on the here and now, whether that's playing with my kids, spending time with my wife, my parents, whatever, like, or just going outside by myself. But like, I would be hard pressed to name a person who doesn't feel better when they do that. And all the other opportunity cost that looking at your phone costs you in terms of all the other stuff you could be doing. Like this to me, like Ron Washington, it can sound corny. I know he did it with the Rangers. 2017 to 14 was a completely different era in terms of how invasive cell phones are to everyday people. I get it, but like no harm, no foul here. And I say, God bless him for trying.
And just like, thank you, Jay, for agreeing. Thank you. Because just paint this picture. All right. It's Joe Adele sitting in his locker, grinding it out, been a bit of a struggle. We all understand that. Right. And now let's say Trouty saw something on video that he was looking at, or he knows the pitcher to an extent that whatever I have to give you right now, as far as information, you should probably be paying attention to. Right. So imagine Trout just kind of spinning in his chair, looking over at Joe, and Joe's like this. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right on. Right on. And then there's like intermittent eye contact. Like, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, for sure. Oh, for sure. And then there's like the disengagement. I'm still looking down at my phone. And it's Mike Trout talking to you, trying to talk to you about the game of baseball right now. What could possibly be more interesting? What could possibly be more beneficial to you right now in the moment than hearing what this dude has to say about the sport and the approach you're going to go out and try to take to be successful today. There is nothing on your telephone that should take precedent over that. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Like we have a rule. In my house, we have a rule. When we go out to dinner, phones don't get put on the table. Phones don't make it out. They don't make it out. I'm a father trying to raise 3 children and not 3 goddamn heathens. They need to learn eye contact. They need to learn respect. They need to learn how to listen. That's a huge part of communication, is just shutting the fuck up and listening, learning how to do that, giving the respect to the people that are trying to pass on information to you that could very well turn your entire career around. And you ain't got time for that? You got to finish this 30-second whatever the fuck? Piss off. So I got a little fired up there, but I love the idea. I love it. And I just want these guys to buy into this, because this is the little simple stuff that you hear all the older veterans talk about. Brother, I can't tell you how much I have learned from the likes of Carney Lansford and Terry Steinbach sitting in the back room of a fantasy camp 3 hours in to our beverage session, if you will. Like, I've learned so much about that, but if I let the cell phone take over, am I going to sit there and not make eye contact with Terry fucking Steinbach and Carney Lansford? Yeah, hold on, Steiny. Carney, hold on. Let me. No is the short answer.
I'm just thinking of our Arizona trip. Like the outside of when we were doing work, like the 2 funniest, most memorable times, at least as far as I was concerned, were 2 times where we put our cell phones away, where we were out to dinner in Tampa the night before we flew out all together, and then when we were playing bags in the backyard in Arizona. And I'm not going to remember the times where we were sitting around looking at our phones doing work or nothing or whatever it might be, but I'll certainly remember, doing that kind of stuff. And that's not directly applicable to Ron Washington banning cell phones in the Angels clubhouse, but I think there's something to what we're talking about. And maybe it manifests itself in one of these players' careers taking just ever so slightly a different trajectory, or, just picking up on one improvement here or there. And that's not going to matter to people tuning in to watch these games necessarily, but it might matter in some way to some of the players or coaches that are operating here.
And I'll tell you, I'll even say this much. Some of these motherfuckers been watching people on TikTok trying to learn how to play baseball on TikTok. It might help you to put that motherfucker down. It just might help you to put that down.
Well, it's great parenting lessons, Dallas. Thank you. Not that I need that. We don't allow phones at the dinner table here. You got that one from me, but it's fine. Keep it as your own if you'd like.
Yeah. Well,
take credit for it, but Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer that it gets the first pitch, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I feel like we should at least take a peek to see what opening day tickets in St. Louis look like. Just to see. We can get good seats. Why not?
I mean, respectfully, you have to go in for it to count for your stadium, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like we can't be at the pitch and you say you went to Busch Stadium.
Right.
You got to get in. You got to be there.
Even if it's just you buying a ticket and walking in and watching an inning and walking out, that is the baseline of what must be accomplished. I'm obviously down to watch a baseball game, but yeah.
That is a great point. Imagine if we go all the way there and I don't even check.
You just sort of like forgot that that's what has to happen for it to count. You're at the airport on the way home. You're like, wait, I wasn't in Busch Stadium.
Yeah, I didn't do it. I went up there to the finish line and then turned around and went back.
I'm glad we clarified this now. Cleared it up.
That is an eye-opening experience that I just had.
What?
That I should probably get a ticket to the game to like be able to say that I went inside. Yeah.
Fucking guy just going to show up to St. Louis. Wow, man.
These are the reasons I come on this trip, just to clean up the fringes here. Yeah.
Yeah.
To get us in.
Yeah. Well, you can save up to 60% off buying last minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Game Time Picks makes last-minute ticket buying easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium. There are zone deals. You can save even more when you choose a section. You let Game Time choose the seats for you. They've got all-in pricing. You toggle that feature, and it shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, and the lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry today. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code BID for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Use the promo code BID for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Jay and Dallas are just dragging my carcass to the finish line today on this show. I feel awful.
Got you, kid.
Yeah, we got you.
I feel
It's okay.
terrible.
Oh, fucking snuffleupagus.
We can keep it moving, baby. It's okay.
Yeah, I can't wait to just lay down after this. The Jared Jones news.
Nah.
Don't love that.
Nope. Not a fan.
Do not love that.
Not a fan. And I'll tell you this, keep your fingers crossed. Just keep your fingers crossed, please. Please, positive thoughts to the pirate ship. Please.
Anytime
please.
you, how often, Dallas, in your line of work, have you seen seeking a second opinion, and that second opinion is better news than the first one?
Well, I've had my shoulder reattached 4 separate times. And from my perspective, asking the other doctor what they see in there was me absolutely praying to God that you were going to be able to tell me, no, looks fine. Nothing to worry about here. And in my experience, I woke up from anesthesia all 4 times going, fuck it, I thought we were good. And it wasn't, indeed, it wasn't fine. So what I'm hoping is that what happens is the extent of the injury is something that they're kind of curious about. And it's one of those things where, look, it's a mild strain. We're talking maybe just a few little fibers have popped, right? Not a tear, not anything serious. And maybe it's a combination of PRP and some rest. And we can get this thing back together. If not, well, then obviously the Allegheny Electric Factory takes a hit. We're going to have to change a bulb. And that is absolutely fucking miserable to even think about, especially when you go back to the conversations that we were having. And JJ, maybe a little, a man of few words, softer spoken, if you will. He's a competitor, and he's, trust me, I've already talked to folks, and he just wants to be a part of what is going on there. And that's why I'm heartbroken about this, is because we've lauded the rotation. We've identified how big of a role he plays in that rotation. We want, or I at least, would love to see the turnaround continue. And it starts with that group. And for him to not be a part of that, it fucking crushes me, because I know how important it was for him to be a part of what they're doing. So I pray that this dude is going to get the answers that he's looking for, get the answers that I think all Pirates fans want. Because ultimately, I want this dude to have a 15-year big league career. And I know health is a huge part of that.
For me, it's like, it's disappointing for Jared Jones specifically, but like, to me, my initial thought was just how tough the margins are to build your team around young pitching. And not that they necessarily set out to only build their team around young pitching. But that's what we spent the time talking about with these guys. And, you take Jared Jones out of the mix, and all of a sudden Andrew Heaney's, Bailey Falter, those are your 3 and 4 starters. Maybe maybe Bubba Chandler is getting an eye a little earlier than he would have otherwise, which maybe that ends up being this year's Jared Jones or something. Who the hell knows? But, it's frustrating given the way that Jared Jones started last season. Through his first 16 or so starts, he was, a certain level of dominance. And then, to have him post an ERA near 6 from August on, and then to come in, coming off of a lat issue, and then to come in spring training and deal with elbow discomfort. It's just a frustrating sequence after how hot it was. But But yeah, we'll cross our fingers and hope for the best at this point.
When we met him, we were down in Bradenton to talk to Skeens. We had Jonesy on the pod and Keller, and I was talking to some guys, not players. I was talking to some guys in the clubhouse who had suggested, the Pirates' concern. Like, this is obviously before any of this came up, but like the Pirates' concern about the size of Jared Jones and the build and how it's a ticking time bomb. And I'm kind of over the whole ticking time bomb thing with pitchers, where it doesn't matter what their build is. Like, look at the size of Garrett Cole, like it doesn't matter how big or thick or wiry or jacked you are. It doesn't matter. Like, if you throw hard and you throw a lot, it's bound to happen. It doesn't.
But this is where, like, I don't like it either. I hate to even have those conversations. And it seems inevitable that every time you get an arm that has the kind of horsepower attached to it, like the arms we're talking about, your initial reaction, and I've said this before, a lot of talent evaluators are always of the mind it's not a matter of if, it's just when you start to talk about high-powered arms like this. And so I always think back to, a guy like Pedro, who slight build, threw the absolute piss out of the baseball. Elbow is fine. But then you have guys, like you just said, a Garrett Cole type, an absolute horse, right? Huge guys coming out of the bullpen. And again, we're not going to go down to this scientific rabbit hole and this biomechanical rabbit hole right now, but there are a lot of precursors that folks who have watched a lot of baseball over the years can readily identify and say, I've seen this build with these types of mechanics, and I know what that turned into. And so that's where they're coming from, is a long line of watching this cookie cutter do this and end up like this. This guy do this and end up like this. That's where they're coming from. And unfortunately, I think science is kind of educating us on how this is happening.
I would just love to jump forward like 50 years in time where there's something like preventative that they can do.
I mean, it's really like it's I jokingly said this to a group of extremely high powered individuals at Major League Baseball and even in the medical side. And they were like, yeah, that pretty much checks out, which is, if you think we're going to evolve to that extent, what you're going to have to do is cordon off elite overhand throwers for roughly a few million years or so, and have them breed with only other elite overhand throwers, so that eventually the integrity, the structural integrity of your joints and your ligaments can withstand what you've done to them.
I'm going to stop you. That doesn't sound realistic.
Yeah, I think what I was more so thinking of is like, you know how it was getting a little crazy to the point where like high school kids were getting Tommy John before they actually needed it as a preventative measure. I'm more so thinking like, if you are someone that can dial up 98 with consistency, if there was some sort of like internal brace surgery that you can get preemptively, where like the recovery time was like 3 months, you know what I mean? Like, can we get there science wise so that it's not like a year and a half TJ versus like, hey, I have the God-given talent. I'm able to throw 99. I don't want my arm to blow out. I don't want to get TJ, later down the line. Can I get in there now and strengthen the tendons? Or, people get metal rods and shit. It's like, yeah, I'm doing this to my elbow as an investment, and the recovery time is 3 months, whatever. It's an off season and you're still ready for spring training.
But that's the problem. We go back to Dr. Keith Meister's review and his paper, and what that told us was in with his research, they believe that the elbow ligament, that ligaments in general, are mature around 26 years of age. So you would essentially be putting on a preventative brace that could very well stunt the growth or retard the growth of your ligament or joint or whatever. Because if you're not fully mature and not fully developed, and you start to put restrictions on this body part, could you eventually grow into a place where the restrictions or the support that you've tried to install is now prohibiting you doing from what you do, prohibiting you from doing what you do? Like there's that's a very slippery slope, because what do tendons do? They bear the weight of the muscle body, and they also expand, right? They allow contraction and they allow flexibility and range of motion. So if you were to repair something like that, I don't know that I don't know. There's got to be a finite amount of time. Like we're going to need at least 60 days of you doing nothing. So
Yeah.
just resting, recovering, that's a long road to get back to getting outs.
Yeah. Anyways, wishing all the best to Jared Jones. We should probably get that interview out before any bad news comes across, and it looks like we're trying to like capitalize on that being in the news.
Yeah.
So Monday, Jared Jones and Mitch Keller on BID.
You're going to love it.
It's gonna be great.
So let's hold off on those second opinions for a while if we could.
Yeah, just pump the brakes on
Get a
that.
third or fourth.
Yeah. Yeah. You know who else is getting a second look right now? Craig Kimbrel is getting a second look at the Atlanta Braves.
He's back.
Yeah, back to where it all began. It's a minor league deal, though. We'll see if he can get back to the big leagues. I'm sure he'll find his way back. He still throws hard. It's just he doesn't know where it's going, and
You got to keep it on this side of the wall.
he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't miss a ton of bats anymore. But it's honestly fascinating. Like looking at Craig Kimbrel's stuff. Like his stuff is still great. Like he still throws hard, and his curveball looks like a slider. It's just like I don't know. Like it's just fascinating how he can be so elite or shitty, sometimes all in the same year. It's fascinating to watch.
I agree. I think he's coming back. I don't think we've seen the last of him in the big leagues. But I'm mostly interested because the back and forth between him and Kenley on the all-time saves leaderboard is probably the highest point of my interest here. Kenley is at 447 entering the season, and Kimbrel's at 440. So Kenley has a 7 save edge and obviously has a much, much more direct path to present day saves than Craig Kimbrel does. So he's likely to add to it. And if and when those two appear on the Hall of Fame ballot, maybe the same season, I think that would be cool. But I'm just kind of curious to see what their relative levels of support are. And the final save number will be a big part of that. Jansen is 4th at 447 and Kimbrel's 5th at 440. So not done yet.
Yeah. A team has chosen to employ Patrick Corbin.
I love it.
I love that he's still going.
Yeah.
And he's just like, this is absolutely for a love of the game situation. It's like, all right, the results haven't been there for the last 5 years. He's a great guy. I mean, I've gotten the chance to do some content with him over the years, and very nice guy. It didn't work out with the last 5 years after signing his contract. But the fact that he didn't just take it to the farm after that and say, man, like I would have hung it up years ago if I didn't sign that long-term deal. It's like he signed that long-term deal, played out the string, and he said, I'm back for more with the Texas Rangers.
Love it. Love it. Make them rip it off you. If someone is willing to pay you dollar bills to play this game and you're in a spot where that works out for you, do it.
Lance Lynn.
Do it. I don't care if I don't care if I'm talking right now to somebody who is just trying to play junior college baseball. Look, if someone's willing to give you anything where you can go to class and take care of that and you can play baseball, D1, D2, D whatever. If there's an exchange between time and future earnings and you just playing baseball to achieve that, take advantage of it.
I got as excited about this signing as almost any signing that happened the whole offseason. I've done this bit before with Patrick Corbin, but I cannot get enough. We have never in baseball history seen someone like Patrick Corbin. There's never, ever been this combination of being not very good and still taking the ball all the time. Like usually when you are this bad, you stop getting the ball, or injuries prevent you from getting the ball, or age or whatever. And that's just not the case here. And he has found a team whose starting rotation situation either is currently or likely will be at some point a place where he can get opportunities to start more. And maybe he doesn't extend the 30 start streak, but I just love it. And I was going to save this for the end, but since we're talking Corbin now, like literally unprecedented in baseball history. He is the only pitcher in baseball history to log 4 straight seasons, making at least 30 starts with an ERA of 5 or greater. No one else has done that. And in fact, the only other pitcher to even have 4 such seasons in their entire career, forget consecutively, just 4 of those seasons, is Bobby Witt, who did it spread out over like a much longer period of time. He is a unicorn in baseball. And as far as I'm concerned, I will be rooting for him to get 30 starts. And listen, when you've got like the injury issues up and down the rotation that the Rangers do, or the lack of proven starting commodity in the case of like Leiter and Rocker, and what are you getting out of DeGrom and all this sort of stuff and injuries they're already dealing with. I hope Corbin gets 30. I think that's probably bad news for the Rangers if he does, but I'm rooting for it. Go for 5 straight, man. Just make this unreachable. He's the greatest at what he does.
I mean, really, it is 7 straight. Like the COVID season is the season that breaks it up. Like it's if you take out the COVID season, he's made 7 straight years, 7 straight years of 30 starts at least.
No. 7. Well, hold on. What am I looking at?
Yeah,
here?
brother.
17, 18, 19, and then I'm going to count 20 because he made every start. That's 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's 8 years of
making
at least,
all the starts.
Yeah, of making all of your starts. That's 8 straight years. That's why. Trust me, when we talk about this coming up through the minor leagues, that's why. What's the best ability? What's the best ability?
It's availability, brother.
Availability, my dude.
Yeah.
Our boy Connor that won the Dinger Derby and does our social, big Rangers fan. And he's pumped about the signing.
You very rarely see black ink like this.
Oh, Jay, hey, goddamn you, dick.
3 years leading the league in losses.
Stop it.
3 years leading the league in hits allowed. 3 years leading the league in earned runs allowed. And 1 season leading the league in homers. That's just good stuff, crown, man. And it's all compacted within the second half of his career.
You got to have a healthy arm, and you got to have heart, and you got to have a ball sack to go out there and get that done. Whether you might say, well, I'm not sure what he's getting done. Look, he's taking the baseball and he's providing
the answer
valuable.
Is it. He's getting it
He's
done.
getting it done. So you define it however you want, you dirty bastard.
I love how we're saying the best availability, or the best ability is availability, and then you look at what he's literally -4 wins above replacement since 21, like replacement level. Like,
well, you know what? And who were the Nats going to replace him with? All right, I just said this is
somebody who could have given him a 6 ERA probably.
As long as the baseball, as long as the
terms
baseball
of
is
this
in
deal?
your
I know
hand.
it's 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year. Right? Isn't it? Like,
I know, but what are the terms? What's the dollars?
I thought it was like $2.5 million.
Yeah, it is $1.1 million.
Oh, one point.
Jake, book Patrick Corbin. I want him on to talk about this. I got his number, I think.
Do of course.
I know I do.
I actually think, like, obviously, like, I'm having fun with it. I think there is an interesting question, and I don't know how you phrase this to the guy directly necessarily, but like, I think there's an interesting question about the sort of mental fortitude or just general mental makeup that's required to know that you're more than likely not going to be effective, but still like being willing to take the ball, being there for your team, fulfilling the contract, all that sort of stuff. And now to the point about that contract's over. Like, I think a lot of people, without knowing Patrick Corbin, assumed that when that $140 million contract was over, like, that's done. Like, hey, I made a ton of money. Like, I fulfilled the contract. Like, I'm walking away with a healthy arm. And then he comes back and it's like, oh, I'm willing to play for 1.1 million now. And that's like, I don't know. I know I'm making fun of him to a degree, like with the historical stuff, but I also think it's like legitimately cool when you've never seen a combination like this. And he's obviously willing to keep it going and has a competitive drive that, supersedes making lots and lots of money in a given season.
And I'm glad you said that there at the end, because ultimately, let's remember, it's this mindset. It's his ability to compartmentalize those struggles that got him to the big leagues, that separated him from everybody else that he was climbing to the top of the mountain with. So for you to acknowledge that, that's a very real thing, because it takes a lot to go out there and get your ass kicked and still look yourself in the mirror and go, but in 4 days from now, I'm still going to be that dude. And that's why he's a big leaguer, man. That's why he's a big leaguer.
In his age 35 season too. God bless him. I'm going to buy a Patrick Corbin Rangers jersey, I think.
There you go. I don't believe you, but I would like to see it.
You know what? Maybe it was a lie. Maybe I'm not going to buy it. Maybe you're going to buy it for me, Dallas.
Oh.
You fucking dick.
I don't know what you're talking about. We don't.
Yeah.
Maybe if you win a bet, we could talk about that.
Yeah. You owe me a jersey. Steve owes me a jersey. I'm just collecting them. I actually just received a jersey yesterday in the mail. I got my red Mitchell and Ness Expos Randy Johnson jersey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Clean.
Very clean.
Clean.
Yeah. I've been on a big time Mitchell and Ness kick recently. I might have you get me a Mitchell and Ness jersey, Dallas. It's just I was gonna get Tony Gwynn, but they only had the brown in my size, and I'm waiting for the gold to be restocked in my size. Yeah.
It's going to be such a sick little opportunity to rack up some jerseys.
What?
Monday's prediction pod.
Ooh.
Is
That's usually where they're born.
I feel like I might win. I might put 3 jerseys on layaway on Monday.
Wow.
Just kind of
3. Feeling strong.
I don't know.
Huh.
I'm feeling, I've kind of like thought about who I'm going to take for some of these. And I mean, I've thought a lot about it.
Didn't we make a jersey bet about Jason Dominguez?
That was a snacks bet at the postseason stream.
Okay.
Yeah, lower stakes.
Yeah. What did I say? He's going to have
below 800 OPS and negative defensive runs saved.
Yep. That's going to be correct, Dallas, right?
Probably yes.
Yeah.
He needs both of those things.
Yeah. No, that's I mean,
right.
the negative defensive run saved is
that's
an automatic.
Feels like that's a lock.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what kind of work he's been putting in this spring, but I know what I've seen, and
slanderous.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to do like powdered donuts. Maybe some pistachios.
I like that.
And maybe Twizzlers. I don't know. I've been on like a nerds clusters kick.
Sour
recently.
strips, dude. Sour strips.
I mean, you can order whatever you want. I mean, Jay is paying once.
I thought it was just for you.
Well, I mean, it's my tab.
Oh, I see. So you can farm it out to Dallas.
Yeah.
I got it. That's fair.
Yeah.
Can you just overnight those to Seattle if you could for opening day, please? That'd be fair.
No. This is at the end of the season.
Oh, fuck. We got time. Bud.
Yeah, we got time. Yeah. And you'll be there. You'll be in the house.
Book it.
Yep. Bar's getting built as we speak.
Love that.
TV wall revamped. The bar being built. Gonna put a nice like that underdog logo that's behind Jay. I think I'm gonna throw that up on the face of the bar. It's gonna look sick.
Is there gonna be a table?
I'm sorry?
Is there gonna be a table?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm gonna need a place to be able to gobble up Ellen's brownie. Is there a table?
It's gonna be a 2-tier. Actually, my mom very upset about no stream at my house.
Jay,
like I told her I'm going to St. Louis for opening day, and she was like, "But what about my fucking brownies?" I was like, "Trust me, I'm not excited about not getting the brownies either." But I was like, "If you wait a week, then you can make them for my birthday."
It's been one of the new things, Jared. There's been a rage. A lot of folks lining up take a shot at brownies. I would love nothing more than to be that's got to be a staple.
Yeah. Well, the bar is going to be double tiered. So I think it's going to be like, we're going to have a 24-inch surface to put our laptops and microphones. And then it's going to go up 6 inches and then out 8 inches. So that 8-inch ledge is for Papagenos and brownies.
No.
Yeah. Like it's designed for Papagenos and brownies.
Oh, at your house. I thought you meant at the stream in St. Louis. I was like, we're not doing Papagenos in St. Louis.
I don't even know if they're going to have like baseball on TV there. I have no idea.
I would hope.
I would hope so too. But
fried raviolis will be there. I can guarantee you that.
Is that like a St. Louis staple?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. What's St. Louis known for?
Fried
Budweiser?
raviolis. The Clydesdales.
Yeah.
The Arch.
Yeah. Dalmatians.
Me crushing it around like 2011 to 2014.
A style of ribs.
What is
Style of
St.
ribs.
Louis known for?
Blues.
The Gateway to the West. The Arch. Forest Park.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just
St.
a suburb,
Louis Zoo. St. Louis Art Museum.
St. Lou got a zoo? The St. Louis Zoo?
Nelly.
Can we please, for the love of God, do a fucking escape room? I feel like we're missing the opportunity every time that we travel.
I say I'm willing to do it every time.
Me too. Why don't you and I just go?
All right, we'll just
You two have just we've never gotten to one.
the two of us and Albert Pujols will do one.
Yeah. Like you act like we just don't do them. Like we've done them. It's just a matter of you bringing us down, Dallas, because you think that you're
I've
above
been
escape rooms.
Ready and available every day.
We
You
should
think
do
that
one
you
with
could-
Tony La Russa. That'd be so funny.
Yeah.
I feel like we'd run into some hurdles.
Yeah. Tony loves doing escape rooms. It's called the Clink. It's called the Drunk Tank. He usually gets out. What?
You're I'm just not even
What?
nothing.
This is literally why I won't even have a single beverage if I'm driving. I'm like, I make fun of drunk people too much to even risk it. Like we did like a cooking class a few weekends ago, and
Yeah.
D-Train and we Ubered there. We were like, I was gonna have a glass of wine, and they were like, you guys Ubered? And I was like, can't risk it. I make fun of people for drinking and way too much.
That's one reason to not do it, Jared. I mean, also
Well, I mean, like you can have a glass of wine. Like you're not going to be over the legal limit. I just won't even risk it. I won't even have a sip.
yeah, no, it's wise decision.
Yeah.
Wise decision.
It's called being responsible. Like how many glasses of wine could you have and stay under the legal limit? Just one, two?
Yeah, just one.
Okay.
I mean, a lot
It
of
depends
it
on how
has to
long
do
it's
with-
spread out over. But yeah, once you get into 2, you're starting to take a
and
risk for sure.
Yeah.
The metabolization process.
Yeah.
You know, everybody metabolizes things very differently.
Yeah, I won't even have one. If I'm having a sip, it's Uber for me, brother.
I mean,
Or any other, rideshare service that wants to sponsor the podcast.
That's true.
for sure.
It's very true. Time is it?
Oh.
12:20, huh?
Just kind of
Shit.
soaking it in.
Yeah. Can't believe it.
Oh, welcome back to Baseball is Dead Family Feud. I'm your man, Justin Havens.
Yeah.
Bittersweet. This is the last Family Feud of the 24-25 offseason. Since we will be doing the predictions pod on Monday, we always do this on Thursday. And by next Thursday, we will literally be celebrating opening day. So I hope everybody enjoyed the off season of Feud. I know I did. And I'm hoping that the guys can end on a high note. I'm looking to go out on a win. Everybody thinks I root against these guys. That's not the case.
You do.
I root for them. I craft the questions in a manner that I hope gets them to the finish line.
Yeah.
Dick.
And this week we have 5. It's the original duo back after Joe subbed in on what turned out to be his final Family Feud appearance as well.
Wow.
So ended with an L, not the way anybody wants to go out. You'll have to wonder, kind of like Juan Gonzalez, who hung it up just shy of the Baines meter, if Joe will be disappointed to have hung it up with a Family Feud loss. But
by the way,
yeah.
Speaking to Joe,
yeah.
Body wasn't even cold yet. You wouldn't believe how many people are vying for his spot already.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Body wasn't even cold yet, and
both of my brothers texted me. They said they're ready. Yeah,
a flurry of resumes came in and said, "I'm ready to be that 4th chair." I think it just has to happen organically. I don't think that it's the spot's open, we're looking to fill it immediately type deal. If the pieces fit, the pieces fit. If they don't, they don't. I mean, we've done this podcast with just us for many years. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. Who's going first?
I believe I went second last time.
So Jared should go first, which means we're going to wrap up the season with old DB in the closer spot, like the fans love. That is what the fans like.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Do you want to read the questions and I'll just pop it off after?
Yeah. Why don't you just take off those headphones? There's no need for you to cheat. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's not how you were raised. Call grandma on your ass. All right.
Doesn't when Dallas has his hat off and he's just like got his bald head and his beard, doesn't he look like he just looks like a nut?
You know,
he just like his chin looks like pubes and his head looks like a testicle.
He sort of looks like he would fit right along in Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
He's sort of got like a pale Tom Morello thing going on.
He looks like Tom Morello's older brother that didn't have any musical talent.
Yeah.
So
or See the Sun.
Yeah, he works at Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And it's like the last Blockbuster in the state of Idaho. That's Dallas.
Yeah. His brother Mott. It's Tom backwards. It's just Mott Morello.
Yeah, he's always talking to people about, oh, you've never seen Casablanca? Are you kidding me?
By the way, look at this dickhead with the Slab Lab hat. How about?
Yes, I didn't even know we had Slab Lab.
I don't even think other people in Slab Lab know that we have Slab Lab stuff. So
no, crazy. I wouldn't put it past Dallas to have made that hat himself, though.
I think that's fair speculation. We're gonna get to the bottom of it, though.
Yeah.
He's looking at us like we should have already started, but
yeah.
All right. Are you ready, Jared?
I am.
Question number 1. Remember, it's out of 100 BID fans. Here we go. Name a baseball player, active or retired, with the first name Kevin.
Kevin Millwood.
Name one player who participated in the 2024 Home Run Derby.
That was last year?
Yep.
Pete Alonso.
Always a safe bet. Question number 3. Name the greatest home run hitter of all time.
Barry Bonds.
Of the franchises that have never won the World Series, who will win the World Series next?
Ooh. Shit. The Padres.
After Tarek Skubal, who should be considered the next best candidate to win the AL Cy Young in 2025?
Garrett Crochet.
Thank you, sir.
I think I cleared house on that one.
Dallas.
He's looking at his phone like a fucking dumbass. We're definitely gonna have some double up here, but that's all right. That's what the folks want.
What the fuck, man? Come on.
Now he has to reconnect his head.
I can't hear shit yet. If you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
we can hear you. This is gonna be great. He's gonna scramble. I wonder who he's gonna say once.
Once he gets connected, once those headphones pop back on.
Yeah.
Classic.
Come on, Dallas.
Jared needs to lie down.
They sure do. Well, I have a Zoom meeting at 1.
That's cool.
I can lie down after that.
Hope it goes well.
What happened?
What?
What the fuck?
Can you hear us?
Thank God. It's the last Family Feud of the off season. So
Wouldn't want it any other
Hey,
way.
there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. All right, here we go. Here we go.
We're back.
All right, good.
Hey.
Never a doubt.
How?
All right, Dallas, you ready?
Yeah, you ready, brother?
Yeah. What kind of work do I have to do here?
You have some work to be done. I'm not going to tell you.
Mm.
Last one of the year, keep you in the dark.
Yeah.
You need to do some work, but not all the work. Are you ready?
Yeah. Fuck it.
Question 1. Name a baseball player, active or retired, with the first name Kevin.
Millar.
Name one player who participated in the 2024 Home Run Derby.
Otani. No, Vlad. Fuck.
Otani is the answer that we will be taking.
No, it wasn't.
Question 3.
Damn it.
Name the greatest home run hitter of all time.
Babe Ruth.
Of the franchises that have never won the World Series, who will win the World Series next?
The Mariners.
After Tarek Skubal, who should be considered the next best candidate to win the AL Cy Young in 2025?
Logan Gilbert.
Thank you. Here we go.
Wow. How did you not say Bonds?
Babe Ruth.
He's not. He doesn't have any record that is
It was
better
an
than
easy.
Bonds.
Did you say Barry?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the correct answer.
Question
so
number
then- so
1.
then maybe that's why I didn't say Barry.
Active or retired player with the first name Kevin. Jared came through with Kevin Millwood.
What the fuck?
Tough start. That's a big old goose egg.
Bitch, you're talking to me. I named the second greatest home run hitter on the planet because I know you have named the first one and you drop a fucking Millwood on me?
Kevin Millwood.
You fucking dickhead.
Hey, Kevin Millwood is a good player.
I like him.
Kevin Kuzmanoff even managed to get a vote. No votes for Kevin Millwood. Tough start.
How
Dallas.
about how many did Kevin Brown get?
Kevin Brown got 2.
Okay, I mean Kevin Millwood played 16 years in the big leagues, had a 4.11 ERA.
Kevin Youkilis
I mean-
sitting there for everybody. He was 46. That was the number 1 overall answer. Dallas came through with 22 though for the Kevin Millar answer.
How about that? How about that?
I mean, respect Kevin Millwood, dude.
Kiermaier, you said Millar, right? Not Pilar.
Yeah, I said Millar. Yes, Millar.
Kiermaier, Kevin Pijar, Kevin Gosman, Kevin Mitchell, Kevin Newman, all got 3 or more votes. We have 22 points. Name one player who participated in the 2024 Home Run Derby. Jared went a very safe route every season. He named Pete Alonso. That was the number 1 overall answer.
Such a
48
weasel.
total points, 3 times the next best answer, which was Teoscar Hernandez, the winner of the event. He
Forgot
got
about that.
16.
That's why I don't remember. We were there.
We were there. You would think it would be reason to remember, but nevertheless, Shohei Ohtani got 0 votes. So
People
between
like-
the first 2 questions, we are at 70 total points
Jesus Christ.
with 3 questions remaining. Okay.
Oh
Dallas.
my God. Dallas.
I mean, no, hold on. Before you come at me, Kevin Millwood is a valid response. Shohei Ohtani just straight up was not in the home run derby.
Credit to the
Sorry.
Discord. who managed to come up with 18 different answers for who was in the 2024 Home Run Derby. Slightly more than the number of actual participants. So lots of people who didn't participate were named.
Kevin Millwood is a Kevin. I just
He
want
is
that
a
on the
Kevin.
record. Yeah.
And
Barry
Otani has participated in a home run derby.
Just
Barry
not
Bonds
last year.
got a vote. Wasn't in the Derby,
No.
as you probably remember. So we're
Son of a
70
bitch.
points with 3 questions remaining. Name the greatest home run hitter of all time. Jared said Barry Bonds. That was 69
Wow.
points. So we vault all the way up to 139 points. Dallas said Babe Ruth. Obviously, a lot of disrespect to Babe Ruth on the Discord. 2 votes for Babe
What
Ruth.
in the fuck? Are you fucking serious? How do you
He
even come
sucks,
to that
dude.
conclusion? How is
People
that
are-
even a thought?
People don't
How-
want to endorse a
Barry
murderer.
Bonds,
I don't know.
69.
Of all time.
Yep.
Of all time.
Yeah.
Where does Babe Ruth sit on that fucking list?
Dallas, who's the best tight end of all time? Aaron Hernandez?
Fucking dickheads. You know, look, killer athlete, but Jared, probably not on my top 10
Yeah.
of tight ends.
Interesting.
Won't
2
ask Dallas
points.
who the greatest running back of all time is either.
Ray Lewis?
What, you
like
saying
Ray?
you don't have the juice? You saying you don't have the juice to get it done?
Hank Aaron, 18 was the second most common answer. David Ortiz came in with 6.
Fucking seriously? Come
Albert
on.
Pujols 3, Ruth 2, Griffey 1, and Brock Holt with a vote.
I want to slap the discourse right across the face. This is
We are at one.
See, I played a losing game at this point, where fucking answers don't mean anything.
Uh-oh.
Up is down.
Nothing
left is
means anything
yesterday.
anymore. Yep.
Uh,
Question 4 of the franchises that have never won the World Series, who will win the World Series next?
I got this one right. I have the number 1 answer. Yeah.
Jared said Padres. That is the number 1 answer. 33 points. That brings you up to 174.
Yeah.
Dallas's response was the Seattle Mariners. Would you guys believe that you are winners?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Even with 2 goose eggs in there.
I mean, put it this way. Kevin
That was-
Millwood should not have been a goose egg.
That was 27 points for the Mariners. You guys got the top 2 answers there. And then question 5, who should be the AL Cy Young
I got the
favorite
number 1 answer.
after Scooble? Jared got the number 1 answer with Garrett Crochet. That was 50 points.
Homer. That's a homer.
Logan Gilbert comes in tied for 3rd with 4 points.
Yeah, no, I crushed that.
And let me tell you something. I finagled this a little bit because I wanted to get a little drama going. Jared, in his round, hit exactly 200 points.
I won this shit on my own, dog.
Done. Done deal.
You know what I'm saying?
Done deal.
I did this shit by my damn self.
48, 69, 33, and 50 were Jared's 4 answers. So he did it. He got 200 with a 0 for Kevin Millwood.
Which is bullshit, by the way.
Millwood
And
can't help.
obviously Dallas tacked on quite a few points after that as well. But yep, congrats to you guys on ending the season with a resounding victory.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm interested to see what a nice little 200 does for my season average. That's got to feel good.
Yep. Yeah, there's some final
the
updates to
fuck-
do on the season. Yeah. What?
Babe Ruth with 2?
That is
That
a
is
little crazy.
Pretty funny.
2.
That is a little
that's just-
crazy that he got 2 at all.
Like just where like there's not another viable. It's just
No, there is a viable answer. It was Barry Bonds. It was the number 1
It's-
answer.
Luis
so-
Severino with 3 votes for the next best AL Cy Young candidate.
Oh, there you go. Let's go, Oakland.
Mason Miller actually got 3 too. Oakland A's getting 6 votes in the Cy Young runner-up.
Well, the A's.
Right. Did I say Oakland?
You did.
I'm
did.
sorry.
Yeah,
Oh.
Severino never pitched in Oakland for Oakland.
Nope.
He's
Didn't
just
get
pitching
that.
for the A's.
Didn't get that opportunity,
That's too bad.
that honor.
That's too bad. All right, we're back on Monday. As we mentioned, it is the infamous season predictions pod. And it's also our last episode before we get on a bird, head over to the the gateway to the West, as they say, St. Louis for opening day, where I have to use the Game Time app to buy a ticket to go to the game, just to like walk in, I guess, and see it. Maybe I'll just apply for a credential. Maybe if I'm not going to be able to stay for the whole game, that's going to be crazy to buy opening day ticket and then not be able to keep. I'm a big ticket stub guy.
Yeah, but you want to support. You're a big fan of
stuff.
supporting ownership, so you're going to buy the ticket, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's fitting that we're doing opening day.
Bootlicker Jerry is what they call me.
We're doing opening day at the new home of Heim Bloom.
Yeah, I'll hit up Heim. Be like, hey, you got any comp ticks?
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Love Heim. Dallas, any final thoughts here?
Congratulations to all the guys who went into camp with a question mark above their head that were battling, whether it be due to performance or need, however you get there. The feeling of standing on the line for opening day, the feeling of making your first big league roster is a feeling that you will never forget. And so for the fellows who are just mere days away from experiencing that for the first time, congratulations. This is the start to the rest of your big league life.
Yeah. Love that. Jay, final thoughts?
I do. We went the whole podcast without mentioning Roki Sasaki's debut. So I just did want to comment on that briefly. Obviously, it was a little bit of a rough debut for Sasaki in terms of command, control the strike zone.
5 walks?
Yeah, 5 walks. Obviously, only allowed 1 hit. So definitely a mixed bag. But I did go ahead and look since the start of the 2024 season. The fewest total pitches thrown in the zone in single starts, in starts of at least 50 total pitches. Sasaki threw 19 pitches in the zone. That is tied for the 3rd fewest by any start since the start of last season, behind only Jordan Montgomery's start on August 3rd and Martin Perez's start on May 26th of last season. So, something to build off of for sure. Obviously, Yamamoto's start debut was a little bit bumpy last year as well, and everything ended up just fine with him. So not sounding the alarm, but, the combination of the lack of pitches thrown in the zone, and then obviously he was amped up to start the game, and then, saw his fastball velocity diminish a little bit as the game went on, but 97, 98 is probably still going to play if that's where he ends up sitting anyway. So, Ohtani homered, Sasaki debuted. It was just very cool. I'm not going to do the whole get up early thing spiel again, but it was very cool to be able to start baseball yesterday by watching that debut and getting paid off with an Ohtani home run that was helped by a fan.
Yeah, I did see that. My final thought. Happy 40th birthday to our very own Justin Havens. He made it. The big 4-0.
Thank you very much.
No.
Oh, we're not going to sing?
I personally, I'm unable.
Happy birthday.
Oh, wow. He's going to do
it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Justin Hatervins. Happy birthday to you. It's hard to be humble when your last name is Havens.
That's right.
That's right, baby. Yep. Very blessed. Had a great birthday. Thank you for the wishes. That's very nice of you guys. Yeah. Had a great birthday yesterday. Had a great birthday week. I've gotten to spend a lot of time with my family and stuff like that. So very blessed and looking forward to my age 40 season in the podcast big leagues.
It's big time.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep. Your Lackey season. I think
That's
he was
right.
41 with the Angels. Was he 40 with the Red Sox? John Lackey, Red Sox jersey. I don't know that there's many of those out there.
He was 41 with the Sox, right? 4-1.
He was 41. Yeah. All right. So not your lucky season. I don't know who wore 40. Who's like the most famous 40?
Rich Harden.
Sure, my Rich Harden season.
Let's see. Some notable number 40s. Bartolo Colon.
Bart.
There it is, my Cologne season.
Your Cologne season. Yeah. Number 40. There you go. It's big time.
Thanks, guys. Great to be with you.
Jake's takes?
One more shout out to Dave Roberts for hopping on. That's just a big bag he swiped back there in 04. I'll always be appreciative of that.
Yeah. Huge.
Love it.
Huge. Yeah, and any fourth chair people, send all of your applications to Dallas. Just flood his fucking email.
It's not true. I don't have an email, actually. So,
Jake, put Dallas's email in the comments, in the description down below.
Can't wait to hear from you.
Yeah, can't wait. All right, predictions pod is coming. Very excited for that. One of my favorite pods of the entire year, outside of like the playoff pods. So be on the lookout for that on Monday. We'll see you then.
Wow.